Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and this is my review for the Knick Season 1, Episode 4, Where's the Dignity? And this episode was just really good in my opinion. Like, I love this episode, thought it was fantastic, and here's the thing with the Knick guys. I haven't, I really loved the first episode, but ever since then, I haven't loved the episodes till this episode. This episode for me was fantastic. I loved it, thought it was just so good. There are a lot of things I love that the show is definitely doing right. A lot of really great storylines. Love where some of the storylines are going. I also love that we got, a lot more with Algernon in this episode. We saw a lot more of Algernon's character, the, progression of his character, where the storyline's going. I like how everything's starting to connect. I really love that. And let's just get this episode because overall I really enjoyed it. So, basically we see Cleary. And, Cleary's the only character on this show who is not involved with something with a doctor. He's not involved with that. He is running an underground batting ring. And, I mean, this was a weird scene to watch, definitely. We see a rowdy crowd look on, and we see a man in heavy boots. He's attempting to stomp on as many rats as he can. Slips on one and gets bitten. I mean, when you do something stupid, that's what's going to happen to you. I have nothing to say except that's what's going to happen, is that when you do something stupid, that's what's going to happen. Honestly, that was just like... Seriously, people, common sense here. Seriously, common sense. Common sense. Really, common sense. We then see Barrow. Now, of course, Barrow is still my least favorite character on the show, I have to say. Barrow's still my least favorite character. He's the one character that, you're not really supposed to like or whatever. Barrow, though, in this episode, I thought he was more tolerable. I don't know what it was. I felt like Barrow was more tolerable. I liked him more on this episode than I have in previous episodes. I just felt he was a little bit more tolerable. I don't really know what it was, but I just felt he was more tolerable. Those pig ashes, basically, that he had, he, burnt the pig and everything, that pig that they were doing, he destroyed it. He ends up bringing those pig ashes to, the widow of that man whose body he sold. The husband that didn't want to be cremated, by the way, the husband that, didn't want to be cremated, so Barrow charges her $5 for the privileges of receipt, and basically he's making it seem like he cares and everything, but then he's like to her, oh, well, we know that all Barrow's really concerned about is money. That's all he's concerned about. He's making it seem like he's like, oh, my deepest condolences, and then he just asks her for $5 for the privilege of receiving pig part ashes, and it's just like, I mean, I thought that was just really rude what he's doing. She doesn't realize what he's doing, and he ends up taking her money. So he takes her money, and basically that's what he does. He just takes her money. And then we see one of my favorite scenes in the show so far. This scene was awesome. Basically, Algernon takes Gallinger through his galvanic procedure for aortic aneurysms, because here's the thing with Algernon. Most times when they don't use Algernon in a surgery, it doesn't seem to work, and basically, Algernon is literally telling Gallinger what to do. I think he's basically just trying to prove that Gallinger does not know what he's doing. He does not know what he's doing. In my opinion, I don't think he knows what he's doing, and he's trying to prove here that Gallinger has no idea what he is doing. So he's taking him through his galvanic procedure, and basically, he makes an incision, and the patient begins to bleed. And, he's giving him all these instructions and everything. And John actually seems impressed, believe it or not. I like that. I like that John was impressed. One of the things that I really do like in this episode was we kind of saw John kind of care for Algernon, see that Algernon actually is a good doctor, definitely. And one of the things also with Algernon is we really got to see a different side of Algernon this episode. The whole episode, he has this newfound confidence in himself, really. He has this I don't know if it's the clinic or what it is, but ever since episode 3, ever since then, now, when we've come back, he now has this newfound confidence in himself, and I love it. I love this side of Algernon. He's so funny now. Like, seriously, he had so many funny lines in this episode. I love that. I loved where they're going with his character. I just thought that, wow, just really great stuff with his character in this episode. And basically, when Gallinger makes the incision, the patient starts to bleed out. Algernon just decides to basically just be quiet. He wants them to do the rest on their own. And he stands off until Gallinger relents and hands over the scalpel. Basically, he's trying to prove that he can work for them. Because, Gallinger doesn't... Because, John wanted Gallinger. He didn't want Algernon. He wanted Gallinger, to be the new surgeon. He wanted him to replace John's position. Of course, Algernon is in John's position. So, I think Algernon really is just trying to warm up to John and prove to him, hey, I'm better than Gallinger. And Gallinger is nowhere near as good as me. I think that's really what Algernon was trying to prove there, and he really did a great job of doing it, because he actually completes the operation very well. He successfully completes it, and the procedure's finished. It seems like everything's, going to be okay, but Gallinger ends up punching him in the face. He is not happy about this at all, and honestly, I understand why he did that, but seriously, Gallinger, that was not right to do at all. John then surprisingly scolds him, and he says a surgeon needs his hands, and it seems like he actually cares about Algernon, but then he says next time kick the man instead. Of course, we're still dealing with John being the anti-hero. He is still sort of a racist. Actually, he's very racist, and yeah, so honestly, that's John's character. That's what John does in this episode. That scene, though, was awesome. Thought it was just awesome to watch. I really love that that Algernon's really trying to warm up to John. You can see that. You can really see that he's trying to warm up to John. He's trying to show him, hey, I'm a good surgeon. I'm better than Gallinger, and he just proved it to him. He did. John's impressed now. John is impressed, even though he still does not like Algernon. So then we see Cornelia and Inspector Spates. Now, Inspector Spates, I thought he was hilarious in this episode. I really did. He was really funny. They visit Mrs. Hemming, basically to discuss the typhoid outbreak that has ravaged her household. Because, there's that weird typhoid disease going on. And Spite, really, he is acting very casual. He's acting very, I don't want to say he's being very smart, I'll say he's being very, not really rude, but he's not being as formal as Cordelia is. He's acting like he's at, his friend's house. He really, you can see he cares, but at the same time, he's just approaching things in a different way. It was fun to watch, in my opinion. He's determined to find the source of the disease. That's really all we saw in that plot. There wasn't really any other progression in that, but, basically, all we need to know is that he's very determined to find this disease. He's going to do whatever he can to find it, and I just really hope he finds it, because I want him to. I really want him to find that disease. So then we see John, and he is performing surgery, and Lucy decides to talk to him. Lucy tells him that he should possibly try to see Abigail, to see how she's doing, because, we saw Abigail in one scene in the last episode, and I was very interested about her character. I like that they brought her up because I was very interested in that storyline, because, of course, she is John's ex-wife. They were in a relationship at some point, and I was very happy that Lucy brought that up, so he decides to do that. He does listen to her, and I like that John does listen to Lucy. I like that. I mean, John is essentially an anti-hero. You're not really supposed to root for him, but he's a great character. And he decides to visit Abigail to monitor her progress. And before this, though, we actually saw a very interesting flashback, which I really want to talk about. We saw sort of how their marriage was, and I thought it was actually very cool that we saw a flashback of this. John was a very fun guy back in the day. Back in the day when him and Abigail were married, John was a very fun-loving guy. He sang, a lot of poems, and is impressing all these people. And Abigail wasn't really this fun sort of person, but John sort of coaxed her into going along with it, and overall, they had a nice marriage. They had a nice marriage overall, and basically everything was good for them. They had a nice marriage. It was sweet to see that. I like seeing their marriage. I like seeing the chemistry between them. I don't know if they're trying to set up them getting back together. I don't think they are, but I feel like, I don't know. I think that relationship is pretty much ruined. I do think, however, they are trying to get them, we can still see them as friends. I still see them as friends, at least. I don't know about you guys, but I still see them as friends. So then surprisingly, though, John tells Abigail she made the right choice in leaving him. I was surprised by that. I was like, okay, that was different. That was not what I was expecting John to say. Because, John so far really seems to only care about himself. He does. He only cares about himself, and I think that flashback merely made him realize that, he was at fault here. He was the one, he feels he's the one at fault here. And I thought that was very well done, in my opinion. I didn't expect that at all, and I thought that was cool. I did not expect that. Definitely a good thing there. I did not expect that at all. So I thought that was well done. So yeah, basically he says, look, you had a right to divorce me. You should have done it. I'm glad you did it. And, basically, he's glad that she did it. So that was definitely surprising. I was not expecting that. I definitely thought that was interesting. And basically, she just chose the wrong man to leave him for, and basically she went with another man, of course. We know that she's married. We know that she had another life. We know that. And, basically, we see her, she seems to be doing well overall, she seems to be doing well. She actually regrets choosing what she thought would be a safe and boring life, because she left him, basically, because, I guess, she thought he was too fun or something, or she just wanted to have more, like, a safe life, because John's friends like to go out and party and drink and things like that, and she really wasn't into that, so it probably just got to her. But now she's realizing, why did I do this? I could have had a nice relationship. And I feel also that Abigail feels that, she doesn't know how bad of a state John is in. She does not realize how bad of a state he's in. And because of that, she doesn't realize that. So I thought that was definitely very interesting. And I'm looking forward to seeing where that's going to go. We only saw one scene with Abigail, but if we get one scene with Abigail per episode, I think I'll be fine with that. Honestly, I'll be fine if we get one scene per episode with Abigail, because she's a very interesting character. She's an important character, in my opinion. I feel looking at her nose is just, it's horrifying to look at, but it's deconstructing, but she's never going to be the same person that she was, and I definitely thought that was a good scene to watch, definitely. It showed us what John and Abigail's relationship used to be like. So then we see Algernon's dad, and this scene was great too. This scene was awesome. He is a coachman for the Robertsons, for Cornelia's household, and he picks up his son from the hospital to bring him home for dinner, and they kind of have a conversation about John and everything, and I love the line that Algernon said. He said, his dad says, is he really, he sees John come out of the, the doctors, the hospital and everything, and he says to Algernon, is he really that good? And he says, yeah, he is, but I think I'm better. And that was awesome. Honestly, that was awesome when Algernon said that, because honestly, if you think about it, Algernon is better. That he proved in that scene with Gallinger that he is better than both John and Gallinger put together, because John and Gallinger could not do the surgery on their own without Algernon's help. Honestly, they can't really complete a surgery without Algernon's help. So him being there proves that yes, he is better than John. That was just an awesome scene. And again, Algernon just had that newfound confidence in himself, which I loved. I thought that was great. So Lucy talks to John, tells him that she's very happy that he went to see Abigail. Definitely felt he made the right choice there. And yeah, so that's really all there is to that, as far as that goes. We then saw something else that was very interesting. I thought this was very interesting. We see Chickening and his sister Clara, and they're playing a parlor game before dinner. And basically, she asks about Algernon. She obviously, again, this is the 1900s. This is not come across. This is just how they, were back then. And basically, Chickening's father is a well-regarded doctor in his own right, and he's very displeased with Chickening's prospects at the Knick. He works at the Knick, and he's not really happy with him because of that. And basically, he says that his son works in some kind of zoo. That's what he feels. He's not happy with the way that, Algernon does things. He's not happy with the way John does things either. He's not happy about these things, and I thought that was interesting, definitely. So yeah, that was definitely very interesting. I thought that was a good scene, and I'm looking forward to see where that's going. We can definitely, I'm wondering if Bertram is going to try to get his son, Bertie, to leave the Knick. I don't know if he's going to try to do that, but he's obviously not happy by the way that the Knick is treating him. He thinks he could get a better offer. So I'm wondering if maybe because he's a doctor, if he's going to try to give him a better offer. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens there, but we didn't really see much else with that. That was definitely very interesting. So then after this, what happens is that we then see Algernon go home. He decides to go to this party, and it was great. I thought it was great how everyone just treated him like an individual. They didn't treat him like, he was black. They weren't mean to him. They weren't rude to him. It seems like Cornelia's family overall really does care about Algernon, and I like that, definitely. He got to meet Cornelia's father, which I thought was good. They had a nice little scene there. But the biggest surprise was when he met Cornelia's fiance, Philip. Now, Philip and her, she had a fiance, of course, and he informs Algernon of his plan to move to San Francisco after the wedding. The thing is, though, Cornelia had no idea about this. She knew nothing about this. She knew nothing about this. This was not something that she was told about. It was a complete shock to her, and she knew nothing about it. That's just the way it is. She knew nothing about it at all, and it comes as a big surprise to her. She knew nothing about it, so I definitely thought that was interesting, and I'm wondering if Cornelia wants to do this. You know, the question is, does she want to do this? Does she want to do this? Does she want to go to San Francisco with Philip, or is she kind of, you know, leery about it? You know, is she kind of like, I don't know if I should do it. I don't know if it's the right choice for me, especially because her father, you know, is expecting a lot out of her. You know, she does have a job. She is trying to find out what's going on with the typhoid outbreak. So I don't know if she's actually going to go to, you know, San Francisco, if she's going to do it or not. I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting to see. We didn't see much else of that, but I like that they brought that up, because I think that's going to be interesting the way that was handled. So then we see Lucy, and Lucy, of course, is very concerned about John. She is not telling him, but she is very concerned. The scene shows it. Because we see John, he goes into the opium den, where, of course, you know, he has sex with women, and she follows him there. I thought that was definitely surprising. I was not expecting her to do that. I was not expecting her to, and I'm wondering if she's going to tell him. I'm just wondering. You know, she found, you know, basically she found, you know, she basically found John making out with that girl. Now, Lucy does seem to like John. I don't know if they're trying to do like a romance thing here, but Lucy definitely is jealous, definitely. Not only is she jealous, but she's concerned about John. So I'm wondering if she's going to tell John that she knows. I don't know if she's going to, but I'm wondering if she's going to. I'm wondering what else is going to happen there, because I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what's going to happen there. That's definitely going to be interesting to watch. Looking forward to that. So then we see, after this, we basically see something very interesting. I didn't know we'd see this. We see Thomas Edison. And I didn't know we were going to see Thomas Edison on this show. That was cool to see. I didn't know we were going to see him. Basically, he is demonstrating his wax cylinder recording device for the captain and his guests. And I thought that was cool to see. I was not expecting that. And I thought that was a nice little scene we got to see. I like seeing that, definitely. I thought that was well done. So then Philip's father, Hobart, tells Algernon about advances made in the development of an electric vacuum. And Algernon purchases one for surgical use in his underground clinic, because, of course, you know, he works in that clinic, he does it by himself, you know, he's thinking, okay, well, maybe I should use this for surgical use. So I definitely think it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. I really liked Algernon after that, definitely. I thought that was a great scene. And after this happens, also, we saw that Gallinger, you know, Gallinger talked to Algernon. We'll talk about this in a second, but basically, we see Dr. Chickening. We see Dr. Chickening Sr. We see Bertram, and they receive the man. You know, this was after Bertram talked to Bertie about the whole, you know, not being happy about the Knick. And basically, they've received the man who has been stomping rats the night before. You know, he got bit, and we don't know what happened after that. So he's exhibiting symptoms of meningitis, which was very serious back then, and it's still serious now, but it was like uncurable back then. I still think it's uncurable. I'm not sure. I'm not a whiz with this or anything, but I'm pretty sure it's still uncurable, so that's obviously not good. So Gallinger, you know, Gallinger, I keep saying Gallinger, oh my god. Gallinger really wants to treat the man. You know, he really wants to treat him. So he returns home, and that's when he had that conversation with Algernon, you know. It doesn't seem like Algernon wants to make any sort of amends, because Algernon shouldn't have to, honestly. This is Gallinger's fault. Honestly, this is not Gallinger's fault or his fault. This is John's fault. John was the one who thought Gallinger was better. Algernon did nothing wrong. All Algernon did was show John that he's better than Gallinger. That's all Algernon did. So Algernon has no amends to make whatsoever. And the thing I liked about this next scene is we actually see him go home to his wife and his daughter, and his wife seems to agree that Algernon needs to apologize. And I think Gallinger is sort of twisting the story around to his wife, making it seem like he's the victim. Gallinger is definitely playing the victim card here. Definitely playing the victim card, and you can just see that. You can see that he is playing the victim card. I hate to say it, but he really is playing that victim card. He's afraid to admit it, that he's playing the victim card, but he is definitely playing the victim card. You can just see it in this scene. So again, in my opinion, Algernon has no amends to make at all. And then we see the end of the episode, which was very intense, in my opinion. Very intense. I thought the end of the episode was very well done, was very intense, and I really enjoyed it. So, Cleary's ambulance is called to take in this girl. She has severely injured herself, and she's attempting to terminate her own pregnancy. Now, Cleary and Sister Harriet had a conversation before about this. Cleary is still on to Sister Harriet. He knows what she's doing. And he didn't really seem to care much about, what she was doing. He didn't seem to care as much. And Cleary, he doesn't know anything, really. Honestly, Cleary's not a doctor. As he said to the girl, I'm not a fucking doctor. He said that. He said, I'm not a fucking doctor. I'm taking you to a doctor. So, he takes her to the hospital. And Sister Harriet and John are attempting to save her, but it's no use. She's dead. There's no saving her here. She's just dead. And, Barrow is going to try to sell the girl's body. He's going to try to sell it, just like he did with, the widower's husband. And Cleary stops him, though. Cleary stops him, and I thought that was awesome when Cleary stops him. Like, wow, they're actually, changing Cleary's character a little bit. I like that they kind of made his character a little bit different. That's interesting, definitely. I like that they kind of, made Cleary a little bit of, more of a likable character, really. I thought he was more of a likable character in this episode. I liked his character more. I liked, the way his character was, and this episode really just made me care about his character more, definitely. I liked his character more after this episode. So, basically, he brings Sister Harriet out to the Potter's Field, and the girl is being buried anonymously. She had no family in the country, so basically no one's gonna know she was buried. And Cleary's obviously visibly shaken by this experience. And he tells Sister Harriet, look, I don't want this to happen again. I do not want this to happen again. I can't see this happening again. This terrible what's happened, because basically she tried to, give herself an abortion, and it didn't work. So he agrees to find the girls who need help and bring in Sister Harriet to provide the abortion services. He wants her to come in and do this professionally. She knows what she's doing, she's experienced, and he doesn't want the same thing to happen to other girls. Before he was very leery about it. No, you can't do this, you're a nun, it's absurd. But now he's like, you know what, I don't want this to happen again, I think this is the right thing. You know what you're doing, you're not doing anything wrong here. A girl just died because of this, I want you to come in and do it. And basically they're going to split the earnings 60-40 in Cleary's favor. So I like this. I like that Cleary is now actually cares about, Sister Harriet. He wants her to perform those abortions. He wants her to, do her stuff, and, she knows what she's doing. So I like that he wants her to perform abortions. I like that he wants her to do that, because I cared about Sister Harriet, definitely, and I like Cleary now. I like Cleary's character, definitely. He stopped Barrow, and I don't know about Barrow. Honestly, again, Barrow's only in it for money, so I don't know what's going to happen, but Cleary stopped him, obviously, so something's going to happen between Cleary and Barrow, definitely. Let's talk about Algernon. Do you think that Gallinger and Algernon, do you think they have a reason to be mad at each other? There's definitely going to be some tension between them, definitely. I really hope that Algernon is able to prove to John that he, is better than Gallinger. He's slowly starting to warm up to John, as I said, but I feel like he's not there just yet. He's slowly starting to warm up to him. As far as Lucy goes, I felt bad for Lucy. I really did. I mean, she clearly likes John. She really wants to get him out of this. Is she going to confront John about this? I'm wondering. Is she going to confront John about her being there? I'm sure he'd be upset, but I think John would probably just be like, oh, don't tell anyone, because, John is very self-centered, definitely. Seeing Abigail, though, I think kind of had him with a little bit of a change of heart. Are we going to see Abigail again? Again, if we see her one episode per scene, I'd be fine with that. Also, I'd like to see more flashbacks of Abigail and John's life. I like seeing that in this episode. I thought that was definitely very well done. Is Cornelia going to go to San Francisco with Philip. Is she actually going to do this? I don't know if she wants to. Does she want to make that commitment? Again, she is trying to figure out what's going on with the typhoid outbreak, so does she want to just abandon that and go to San Francisco with him? I don't honestly know if she wants to. I don't think she does, and we'll have to see what she decides to do, definitely. That's going to be interesting to watch also. And I think that's pretty much what I have to say for this episode. Overall, I love this episode. This was by far the best episode of the season. Definitely best episode so far. It was perfect in my opinion. There were no problems with it. I loved everything in this episode. Thought it was fantastic. Every scene was important, and I really loved everything in this episode. And also, I love this new side of Algernon. I love that we're seeing Algernon. The other thing I would say. Do you guys think that Bertram is going to try to give Bertie a better offer so he could possibly leave the Knick? Also, I kind of feel Cleary is now going to become a doctor at the hospital, because he's the only person that's not in a hospital. He's not a doctor, as he said. He does not know anything about medical search. He knows nothing about medics. He knows nothing about that. So I really feel that now that this happened to Cleary, that he's going to become a doctor, at least by the end of the season. I'm not going to say now, but I feel like at some point Cleary is going to become a doctor. Do you guys agree with me there? That's in my review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you guys in my next review, which will be my review for, I guess, tonight's episode. I'm going to say tonight because, it is today. Tonight's episode of Outlander, which I'm really looking forward to reviewing. Again, let me know what you guys saw of this episode. Again, I really love the show now. I was not as into it in the past 2 episodes, but this episode really made me hooked again. So now I really love the show again, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Okay, bye.